This episode is brought to you by Factor. I love cooking, but sometimes you just need a break, especially this time of year. Cross meal prepping off your to-do list with Factor. Factor is America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service that can help you eat well for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Factor has chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals that get delivered straight to your door. I loved how delicious the meals tasted as well. We had everything from chicken to meat to pasta dishes. And not to mention not having to plan, grocery shop, chop, prep, clean up, all the stuff that comes with cooking. Especially in the new year, I want to make sure I'm eating healthy again, but not devote my life to cooking. You can choose from 35 plus chef-crafted meals every week that support a healthy lifestyle and meet your meal preferences. Whether it's calorie smart, vegan and veggie, protein plus, and more wholesome options. So get Factor and enjoy eating well without the hassle. Ready in just 2 minutes, no prep, no mess. Head to factormeals.com/dateable50 and use code dateable50 to get 50% off. That's code dateable50 at factormeals.com/dateable50 to get 50% off.
Hi, I'm Yue Xu.
And I'm Julie Kraftchick.
We're active daters turned dating sociologists.
Here to dive into everything modern dating and relationships.
Welcome to the Dateable podcast. Happy New Year, Dateables. Welcome to our off/on season of this podcast. We are still technically in season 17, launching 18 very soon, but we just want to say a quick hello for the new year and set some new year intentions for 2024.
Yes, we love these intention episodes because, new year, new me. It's such a cliche, but it really is that year to reset. And, we're really glad to be back in 2024. As Yue alluded to, we're in the on-off season. It's an inside joke for all the people that have been listening for quite some time. We used to call these bonuses off season. And then we realized we're still on. We're here. So the next 6 weeks or so, we'll still be here, but we'll be resuming season 18 on around Valentine's Day.
Ooh, I can't even think that far. I'm just trying to get used to the new year. It's like 2024. Why does it feel like end of the year, like mid-December and the beginning of the year, you feel like there's a big gap? I feel like there's 6-month gap. Like I'll see you in the new year, but it's only 2 weeks. And those 2 weeks go by so fast and boom, you're thrusted into the new year. It's shocking.
Well, we love doing these episodes and talking about the new year. I feel like I should know this, but are you a resolution person, Yue? I feel like you've talked about this before.
No, I don't do resolutions.
Okay, you're a non-resolution person. My partner's also a non-resolution person. I used to be, but I stopped doing it as well. I feel like there's too much pressure. But how do you like to start your new year? Because I do like the idea of the intention, which is what we're talking about today. So I do feel like there's something about, starting the new year right, but I don't love the idea of here's my 5 things I need to do by the end of January.
Yeah, I feel like I change it up every year according to how my last year went. So this year, I'm really thinking about what do I want to continue from last year? I feel like a lot of times when the new year hits, it's like, let's try everything new and restart. But a lot of things worked for me last year. So I'm going to, continue those things and build on them.
What do you think was one of the things that stands out to you that worked the most?
Just really understanding that nothing in life is permanent and to keep fostering the sense of being present with people and to really appreciate the time I spend with people and keep doing that, to keep being intentional about having that time with the people I love.
Yeah, I really like that the nothing is permanent. I think that's such a powerful phrase because when you're in the thick of a situation, I'm going to infer a little, so you got to correct me if I'm wrong, but when you were going through your breakup, that was heart-wrenching. It's easy to think this is how life is going to be from now on, but you do have to step out and be this isn't going to last forever. I'm going to move through this, whatever bad time is going on in my life or wherever I am in dating, relationships, love, whatever, it doesn't mean I'm going to be here forever. Is that kind of your take on it, or do you have a different take as well?
I think that's exactly it. I don't need to be tied to the thought of being with someone forever or having something last forever. Because we got to know we're constantly changing. Our relationships are constantly evolving. Even if you're with someone for 10 years, what it looks like today, it's going to be different than what it looks like 10 years from now.
Yeah.
But I realized what I was missing was just really appreciating the moments you have together. A relationship,
Mm,
for example, I always quote Miley Cyrus in her Flower song. She says, "We were right until we were wrong." And I think that's how
mm,
relationships are. Really cherish the times you're right, appreciate that, and then
yeah.
if and when you're wrong for each other, at least you had the times that you were right. And that's like not time wasted. You learn from that and you still had that right feeling. It's like a very special feeling when you feel right with someone.
Yeah, 100%. I think gratitude, it's so easy to like overlook that of just like feeling lucky, like feeling that you've hit the jackpot. Like, even again, like if it's for a month or a year, whatever it is, it doesn't need to be forever. But being like, I feel really freaking happy in this person's presence right now. And I'm lucky to have found them. And I think that sounds like, I don't know, like I feel like my partner and I do tell each other that we feel lucky a lot. And it's sometimes of like, is this a weird thing to say? But at the same time, it's like
No.
it is hard to like meet someone in today's world. It is luck that we happen to swipe on each other on this dating app. And I do feel lucky to have met someone so wonderful that like changed basically changed the way I viewed a relationship was possible for me. So I think that stuff like does deserve that feeling, as sentimental and cheesy as it is.
I don't think it's cheesy at all. I think you could have a connection with someone for one night and still appreciate that with them. Because what are the chances that the universe brings two strangers together to connect on
Yeah.
such a deep level? And even if it doesn't last, you still got to experience that moment. And I think a lot of times you and I talk about this. It's like daters are so afraid to for that heartbreak, for things to not last, that they
Yeah.
don't even put themselves out there for an opportunity to connect with someone. But the more we can put ourselves out there, the more we can open our hearts for that love that could last, or that love that could be so deep you never even knew it was possible.
Yep, damn relationship chicken. We always talk about that.
Yeah.
Never putting yourself out there. But yeah, I think I'm like thinking back to the Instagram post you put up too the other day too, of just like the word magic. And I feel like there is something there of how do we bring that feeling to dating a bit more and just love overall, because I think that's what gets lost in today's dating world, is that it feels like work. Like we need to like plow through these people and scout out all the red flags and make sure that we're just like optimizing our time. But like, where is the room for magic? That's what love and romance is. And we're just completely missing that.
Oh, I wish we could bring that back in every aspect of our lives. Because if you look back, all of you can look back to the moments that were pivotal in your life. I can guarantee you there was a sprinkle of magic in it all. You can't explain how, why it happened, but it happened the way it did. And it served you in a mystical way. And I think magic is like 90% of how people get together. Because what, like you said, what
Yeah.
are the chances that you two swiped on each other on an app, get along so well, keep seeing each other, and start building a life together? That you can't explain. There's no algorithm that can put you and your partner together like that. Only magic can sprinkle that dust and be like, poof, you two get together, build a life.
Yeah, I mean, I think the intention using that, right? Like with this magic mentality is like, what's around the corner for me? What's tonight going to bring? That mentality, opposed to like what we see so many daters go in with, of like, oh, and I definitely be guilty too here, is like, oh, another date. Not going to even save this person's number in my phone. It's probably not going to work out. Like,
Mhm.
what a different approach, those two mindsets.
Oh, I know. Like, it's like night and day. And I think that's the other intention that I want to continue in the new year, is continue to believe in magic and allow
Hmm.
magic to happen.
Yeah.
When you believe in magic, there is a part of you that's a little ignorant. And there is beauty in
Mhm.
some level of ignorance. Like, you don't need
Yes.
to see everything so clearly sometimes.
I agree. And I definitely want to bring that to my life too, like love life and just like professional life, personal life outside of love too, because I think we can really talk ourselves out of a lot of things if we want to. And I feel like I'm finding myself, I don't know what it is lately, like gravitating to like what couldn't work, what isn't
Mm,
going well, not even in my love life, but in just other parts of life. And seeing that magic in all areas, like I want that to be first and foremost in my line of sight 2024.
mm,
For me, I think my biggest thing is having this optimism. I
mm.
feel like because I brought that when I met my partner, I think this feeling like, oh, it's going to happen. There's no room for failure. Like it's going to happen. It's just going to happen. Right. And like believing that. And I think I need to like remember that now for other areas. Once you kind of like get your love life, I don't want to say like settled. It's like an area that I'm like, oh, I feel okay with where things are right now. I
Mm,
feel good. But that doesn't mean that like other areas now aren't spilling over. And I need to like bring that same mentality to all aspects of life because I really do believe where you are everywhere impacts how you show up for love too, because like I can even see like when I have that spiraling thoughts in areas that have nothing to do with my relationship, they still impact my relationship because I'm doing life with someone.
right. Exactly. Exactly. And that optimism can come from letting go. I
Yes,
think,
yes.
isn't that funny? It's like we think sometimes if you have control over your life, then you can control the outcome. But that's when you become pessimistic because things won't work out the way that you planned it. The
Yeah.
optimism comes from letting go of that control and knowing that things may not pan out, but they're going to work out their way they're supposed to.
I'm so glad you said that because I think that was like when I had the optimism of meeting my person, I did let go. I was like, finally, I'm not as
Mhm.
like, not as concerned with each date like going a certain way and panning out. I just know like it'll happen when it's meant to happen. And keeping that mentality is so important because you're still intentional. Like, you're still like, I want to meet someone or I want to do whatever you want to do. You have a goal in mind. It's not like saying that you're directionless now, but you're also not attached to each thing necessarily resulting the way you think it's going to. You have trust that it will like
Right.
unfold the way it's meant to unfold in the grand scheme of things.
What other intentions do you have for the new year?
Well, I want to keep going into them, but before we do, I'm going to do a little ad break here.
Great.
Before we do, let's hear a message from our sponsor.
This episode is brought to you by Recess. You all know we love the idea of a hashtag sober first kiss, and Recess zero proof craft mocktails make the opportunity for sober chemistry even easier. It's the perfect drink for those alcohol-free moments with fun flavors like the Recess lime margarita, grapefruit paloma, and watermelon mojito. Recess zero proof craft mocktails are a guilt-free way to unwind, made with real fruit, only 25 calories or less, and infused with functional ingredients. I found these to be my favorite drinks to bring to parties. I've also found them to be a great way to unwind at the end of the day, chilling on the couch watching my favorite shows. Currently, I'm really into the grapefruit paloma, but all the flavors are yummy and taste just like my favorite cocktails. And lucky for our listeners, get 15% off Recess mocktails now at takearecess.com/dateable so you can enjoy your favorite cocktails without the consequences. Again, go to takearecess.com/dateable and get 15% off Recess mocktails today. Is your January looking dry? Get some lotion, get a humidifier. And better yet, get Drizzly, the go-to app for drink delivery. With Drizzly, you can compare prices across local stores to get the best price on a huge selection of drinks perfect for dry January every single time. Non-alcoholic wines? Have a look. Ready-made mocktails? Grab a straw and order them up. Beer without the alcohol? Yep, take your pick. You can find all of them here in the app, in that phone that's in your hand. Could it be any simpler? Nope, not a chance. So shop for great deals on all your dry January beverages or other drinks and get them delivered to your door or a blanket fort, maybe. Download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com. That's DRIZLY.com. Must be 21 older, not available in all locations. And don't forget to lotion up your elbows. They're looking a little dry.
Who kept you on the hook on that one, didn't I?
Our intention
Intentions
is to
of the
get more
year.
sponsors in the new year. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think intention for me, I mean, I one of the big things is to continue to grow my relationship. Like I think you can really get into a state of, we'll be coming on 3 years in April. So not quite there yet, but
Ooh.
we're going there. And I really want to like appreciate all the stages we've been in too. That's one of the things I've been doing is just reflecting back of like, it was so magical when we first met, but now is even more magical that it's like so comfortable. And it
Mm,
feels like, like I have this person that has my back in everything and is like the best support system and something I've never experienced in my life from anyone in my life. And that is so beautiful. So just like being okay with where we are in the moment too. And not to say like, I don't want the next
yes.
phase to come because I do, but like I've really been trying to like let go a little of the milestones and just trusting again that things are going to happen when they're meant to happen. And like, I believe wholeheartedly, like they will happen. So keeping that mindset and persisting that mindset and, being appreciative of that. So that's like one side of it. But also,
Mhm.
I don't want to just get too complacent and comfortable too because things are good. While it doesn't need to be like constantly worked on, like I don't know if we need to necessarily be in therapy all the time, like if we want to like,
Mhm.
keep going with things, but doesn't mean that you don't work on it either. Like even just something as simple as like my partner and I, for instance, we have this new thing that on Wednesdays we're going to do like a date night in the home. So we're not just like
Mm.
watching TV. Like we'll play a game or
Mhm.
we'll do some sort of activity or something that's like a little more engaging because just sitting on the couch every night watching TV is like my biggest fear of relationships. And I
Ugh,
don't want that to be
yes.
our relationship. Like, not to say that there isn't a time and a place for a good TV binge, absolutely. But we don't need to do that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then like go out on the weekends, right? So we're trying to kind of bring a little more balance in that way to keep things fresher too.
Yeah, I mean, we always say keep dating in a
Yeah.
relationship, and I think that's exactly what that means is that you are spending quality, intentional time with each other, and the rest of the time you're coexisting. That's totally fine. That's what happens when you live together.
Yeah.
But as long as you carve out that space to still like date each other, it's so key. It's so key because I think that's what I was kind of really missing in towards the end of my last relationship was like we just let logistics get in the way. We just had everyday life get in the way of our partnership, our romance. So we would spend our
Yeah.
time talking about next steps and who's grocery shopping and who's like when are we doing the move and who's taking the dog to the groomer, but we didn't make the time or space to be like, how are you? How are we doing?
Right.
Like how is our relationship doing?
Right. And it's like a balance too of, like you can't like
Yeah.
forget the other stuff either.
Yeah.
And even like the check-ins, like I'm glad we still do that absolutely to just understand like, relational growing edges or anything that's going well that we want to call out. Like I'll give Dr. Alexandra Sullivan a shout out. She has such a great framework for anyone that's ever interested in it. We've discussed it on past episodes and you can go to like
Yeah.
all of her episodes probably and hear it. But like every week it's like, what's going well in your week, what's not going so well, like outside of the relationship, just as a way to like touch base, hear from them. And then
Yeah.
is there any like relational growing edge, anything that you want to improve in the relationship, a hot damn or compliment, which always feels nice to receive, and then an intention for the week. It's very simple, can do it in 30 minutes, but I think it's really a nice checkpoint for us. But I also want to have the time where we're not talking about the relationship, we're not analyzing it, we're just
Yes.
dating like
Yes.
when we first met, because you're not like every second being like, how's our relationship doing? Am I doing anything that annoys the shit out of you today?
Yeah, so true. So true to get back that initial time. You'll never feel the same again as like your first couple months of dating, but it's good to even like reminisce about that time because that's when you're
Yeah.
building that connection. That's when you are feeling the warm and fuzzies. And it's always good to reminisce about that. Like even in friendships, you and I always talk about how we first met.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in a
Yeah.
relationship, right? Like it's your first connecting point. It's like such a
Mhm.
pivotal point in your relationship.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think just like, I mean, something that we continue to think about too is like time allocation with other people, like having our own time, having our friend
Yes.
time, having our couple friend time, like I think that's really important too, because, like you had a life before you met each other, right? So you shouldn't like completely forget
Yes.
about that life either. And for me, I need those outlets. Like I know I need those outlets to be happy. And even just to have my own time to like decompress and do stuff, it's so important.
Well, time is definitely on my list of intentions. I want to be a lot more discerning with my time, the people I spend my
Yeah.
time with, the people I give my attention to, because I find that I am definitely diagnosed with FOMO. I didn't realize it till, end of last year. I have major FOMO. And I think after the world opened up with COVID, I felt like this burst of energy in me where I needed to be part of everything.
Yeah.
I needed to be part of groups, conversations, events, all of it. And I hope this year to not be that anymore. It was fun, but I need to be more discerning with even like the
Yeah.
people I surround myself with, right? Like I don't have all that time and I can't be stretching and sacrificing myself to please my FOMO side.
What about like as someone in a new relationship? Like how do you think the FOMO, do you think that was because it was a stage that you were, more just back into
Yeah.
things, figuring things out, getting to know yourself again, and now you've moved to a different stage, or do you not see the two correlating?
Oh, definitely. I mean, when I was very single, I wanted to be part of things. I was
Yeah.
very curious. In a new relationship, especially with someone who has kids, the time we spend is limited. So, whatever time we get together, I need to be giving up something else. And that's what brought up this whole intention is that, okay, I need to be giving up more things for other things that matter more.
Yep.
So, even like our time spent together or any time I'm spending now, it's just intentional quality time. And we'll see how it goes. But I've never been in a relationship like this where like it's very, we have only certain windows of time where we can see each
Mm,
other.
yeah. Is there anything like that you have as an intention for the relationship, like where you want to go in the next couple months? I know you're taking this relationship day by day, trying to figure it out, but it has been quite intentional. So I'm curious if it has any intentions.
Our next renewal period, I think it's right around Valentine's Day. So we have another month
Okay.
and a half or so to figure out if we want to renew again. And our intention for the last 3 months was just to build our relationship and to remove the noise. So we decided not to introduce family or too many friends, just build our relationship first. So that's what we've been doing. And if and when we renew again, that's going to be like, how do we integrate our lives?
Mm,
That's going to be pretty challenging. Right now, we're still, doing the like time boxed and also like keep our lives very separate.
yeah.
Very few of my friends have met him. But yeah, the next renewal will be different intentions of integration.
Yeah. I mean, there's something nice about the first couple months of just getting to know each other too and not having those distractions.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, because you don't want other people in your ear
Yeah.
talking about your relationship or asking you questions. So there was a close call though, because I had to drop something off at his house and I had my mom in the car. I was like, oh, is this a time? And even my mom's like, I'm not ready to meet him yet. I have too many questions. I
Yeah.
don't think he's ready for it yet.
I like that she could recognize that. She's like, no.
Yeah, she can. She's like, I have a list of questions. He hasn't filled out the application form to date my daughter yet. So, no, I'm not meeting him.
I don't know. I mean, everyone has differences in terms of times for introducing parents.
Hmm.
Personally, I feel like I'm someone that doesn't err on like the early side of that. So, like 3 months or
Hmm.
whatever, to me doesn't even feel weird that you haven't done that.
Oh, no, it's definitely not weird. I think it would be weird if he did meet them this soon. But because this relationship has been so intense, it feels right to have him meet them.
Mm,
That I think that's what I'm fighting against. And I need to just keep reminding myself it hasn't been that long. It just
yeah.
feels really intense. events. That's all.
Got it. I'm
Yeah.
curious too, as like a follow up to that, is like you mentioned there's some things that you were doing while single that you want to kind of stop doing now that you have a relationship. Like, what things did you feel like were kind of like filling voids that weren't necessarily fulfilling that you were just doing because you had the time?
Well, he and my mom are in agreement on this. I filled up my social calendar. Also because I felt like there were a lot of friends I hadn't seen in a while and I really want to build those relationships. I also got in this habit of like meeting up with friends on a one-to-one or like two-to-one kind of basis, so that, occupies more time cuz you can't see a lot of people at once. So he would always say, cuz he's more of a loner, I would say.
Okay.
He's not as social as I am. Yeah, so he's like, "Wow, you really fill up your social calendar."
Mm,
It is part of who I am, but for the new year, I don't need to be as social. I know that, and I can pull that back. But he also knows that there are certain things I'm just going to be doing, like meeting up with friends or at certain events that's just part of who I am. So we're
right.
trying to find the balance right now. Like
Right.
what's authentic to me and what's me just like pushing it.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense. Like in a post breakup world, I feel like you do want to try to like fill your time. So I could see why it might have like gone even heavier than it maybe has in the past.
Oh, yeah, way more. I mean, I was on a tour. I was like on a political tour of like talking about my ex and what happened because it was such a great
Right.
story. And, but I'm done. That tour
Right.
is over. Yeah,
Right.
no longer selling tickets to that. Got it all out of my system. I'm good.
And it doesn't mean like you're not going to hang out with friends anymore, but I feel like too sometimes when you're in like single mode, when you're back into it, you're just trying to meet like any new random person too. It's not even like your close friends that you're maybe like spending this time with.
Yeah. And this is like kind of the interesting thing after what happened last year. A lot of people who live in LA reached out to me on Instagram who I've never met, but they've been followers of the podcast. And I've actually met up with a lot of them. So that's been really fun meeting new people because they felt like they knew me and I felt like there was some common ground. I'm probably not going to be doing as much of that anymore in the new year, but it's been nice to like make new friends
Totally.
who have been following my journey.
And I 100% agree. Like, I feel like once you're in a relationship doesn't mean that you should not be meeting new people. I'm not trying to say that at all.
Right.
But I think
Yeah.
sometimes you like hone in more on like the people that are actual friends, not friendly acquaintances.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, time is so precious, especially when you're in a relationship. So it's good to just be more discerning. And you can still show people you are thinking about them or care about them without spending that much time with them. It's possible.
Yeah. And it's not like you'll never see them again either. It's just like, yeah,
Right.
how do you balance it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, words that we can leave for our audience that will help people in 2024 have a thriving, happy, healthy, I'm going to say healthy, love life.
Don't be afraid to love hard. Don't
Yeah.
be afraid. Everything that you want in love is on the other side of fear. The less we put ourselves out there, the more closed off we get to love, right? Like how much time your connection lasts with someone does not dictate how successful that connection was. It can be intense for 30 minutes or intense for 3 years. Appreciate that time, but don't be afraid to show people love and to love them.
Yeah. No, I think that is such a key point. We talk about all the time. Stop playing relationship chicken because all you're doing
Mhm.
is you're just closing yourself off from love. And
Yeah.
we get it. It can feel hard and daunting to put yourself out there. You don't know if someone's going to return the sentiment. You don't know if is this person right for you for the long haul. You can really get in your head in a lot of this stuff. But I think the more relationships we have in 2024, the better. And we're not saying like stay in bad relationships. That's not the message here. But treating dates like relationships and partners is so
Mhm.
paramount. Like we the way we date versus the way we have relationships, like we would not do any of this stuff in a relationship. So why are we doing it when
No.
dating? I don't know about you, Yue, but like I feel like for me, when I just started getting like more authentic and just being like, I'm going to show this person who I am and like the sides that my friends love because I'm a caring, wonderful person to be around. That's when I actually had dates that like went somewhere, when I was like trying to be the cool date that, you know, had the air of mystery or whatever. Nothing went anywhere. So I think being authentic, being real, who the F cares if they don't like you back? Someone else will.
You're not trying to win everyone's affections. You do not have time for that.
Nope.
No matter how efficient you may be, you don't have time for that. And if you ever find yourself having to censor yourself around someone, it's probably a sign that this is not the right person for you. If you're like afraid to say things, afraid to scare them away, it just means you're afraid of being yourself around them. That's very telling.
Don't be afraid to scare away the wrong people. I think that is the motto to live by, because if they're not right for you, like just be yourself. And if they're not right, they were not right. It's the easiest way to filter out people. I think the last thing like I would say for 2024 is just believing. Like it sounds so cheesy, but like, I don't know, I'm getting like a really weird flashback to Golden Bachelor, which I wish did not live rent free in my brain. But there's this scene where they're like out for their date and they break into Saga dance with the song Journey, Don't Stop Believing. And it's a flash mob dance scene. And it's so cheesy. Like I'm like cringing even saying this myself, but there was something, I'm not gonna lie, I might have shed a tear of this concept of like, don't stop believing. Like they're out there, right? Like if you want to find someone wonderful, if you want that love, don't let the dynamics of modern dating like get in your way of that. Like just know that like it will happen and you just need to keep going. Like I know it sounds like so like directionless in terms of the steps we can give you to find love, but really perseverance is such the secret sauce that we always forget about. Is oftentimes you're not going to find love on like the first swipe. Like it's going to take going out with a bunch of people. It's going to take having periods where you're single, relationships that didn't work out till you get to where you want to go. And that's okay. That's part of the journey. I sound so cheesy right now. I'm like cringing at myself.
Part of the journey is don't stop believing. I love it. We're bringing it full circle. Well, thank you all for still believing in us as you're still listening to us in 2024. Do not stop believing in us because we will keep churning out content for you all. Next few weeks will be bonus content. It's still us back every week. We're not taking a break. It's just a little different with the brand new season in February, which is very soon. Do not sleep on us. Do not stop believing in us because we still believe in love and we still believe in you.
Yes, we have a great off-on season for you. So get ready. And of course, send us your topics. This is the perfect time for us to recalibrate. We've been thinking about the season. We're going to, make sure to answer any polls that you see on Facebook, Instagram. We're going to be reaching out to the audience, hearing what do you want to hear? Because ultimately this show is here to serve you. It's here to help you. It's here to make your dating life better and easier, less stress-free, happier, more magical, all of it. So we want to get your take on what's helpful.
Well, you know our email, hello@dateablepodcast.com. You know our Instagram handle @dateablepodcast. And you know where to find us on Apple Podcasts because you can leave us a rating review as well. If you search for Dateable Podcast, scroll down to where the stars are, give us a 5-star rating. And then in the body of the review, you can tell us that you still believe in love. Tell us that you believe in magic. And if you have a dating question, ask it there and we'll answer in our brunch talk when we're back for our new season.
Yep. Or tell us we're cheesy as fuck, but make sure to leave 5 stars while doing it.
You know what? And if you tell us we're cheesy as fuck, we're not going to stop. It'll just give us more ammunition to be cheesier as fuck.
That's when you know you're in love, when you're cheesy as fuck.
We need that on a shirt. Okay, we'll be back with merch in a few weeks. All right, that wraps up this episode. We'll see y'all next week.
Stay
dateable. The Dateable podcast is part of the Frolic Media Network. Find more podcasts you'll love at frolic.media/podcasts. You can follow us on Instagram at Dateable Podcast and visit dateablepodcast.com for access to all the episodes and our premium programs. Also, make sure to subscribe today if you haven't already on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform so you are the first to get all the latest episodes. And most importantly, stay dateable.